Alright guys, so it is that time of week again. Yesterday was college football, so I'm going to release the top 25 as I see them through week 6. So at 25 I've got Cincinnati, 24 Kentucky, 23 Illinois, 22 Syracuse, 21 I've got Florida, at 20 I've got Texas. Now that Evers is back, he looked great yesterday. I like that Texas squad with him, the biggest blowout in the Red River rivalry. 19, Kansas took a tough loss to TCU with game day. The first time being there and everything. They gave up a valiant effort but came up just short. 18, I've got Utah. Got mauled by UCLA yesterday, so I had to drop them pretty far. 17, I've got Kansas State. At 16, I've got Mississippi State. At 15, I've got NC State. 14, I've got TCU, again after that great win at Kansas yesterday. 13, I've got UCLA, who just took out Utah. 12, I've got Wake Forest. 11, I've got Oregon. 10, I've got Penn State. James Franklin got a big game coming up this weekend, so that one's going to be one to watch, the Penn State game. 9, I've got Ole Miss, who had a little bit of trouble early with Vandy, but then put them away by the third quarter yesterday. 8, I've got Tennessee. Tennessee went into Death Valley and just looked invincible against LSU. Anything LSU did, it just didn't look good. So, huge game where College Game Day is going to be this week in Knoxville, where Alabama is going into Neyland. So, that's going to be probably the game of the week for me. Number 7 is going to be Clemson. Number 6 is USC. Caleb Williams continues to sling it. I still have questions on the defensive side of the ball for Lincoln Riley's squad. Number 5, I've got Oklahoma State. Again, Gundy gets another win. They're undefeated. Love the Cowboys. Number 4, I've got Michigan, who didn't look great in the first half yesterday, but ended up pulling away. Number 3, I've got Georgia. Their running game was as dominant as I've seen it the last 3 years yesterday, and they leaned on it pretty heavily. Stetson still overshooting some receivers. I think he got banged up last week, and he was just off yesterday. It didn't look like the Stetson that we saw play Oregon and Atlanta in week 1. 2, I've got Bama. The reason is I know it was a close game in Tuscaloosa with A&M, but Bryce Young didn't play, and I know how dangerous that team is, so that's why it's not a super big drop for them. But it was a very close game at home. The revenge element was there after the loss last year, and they didn't put them away. A&M had a chance to win the game at the end, and they just didn't pull it out, which is pretty much how A&M's season's going. So with Bryce Young, I think that's a different game. But again, lean on the run and let the defense play, and they pulled out a victory. And then at number 1, I've got Ohio State, which outside of the Notre Dame game week 1, they haven't really, nobody stopped them. Now their defense is not playing fantastic, but they don't really have to with some of the competition so far. I think that changes down the line. I think Michigan at the end of the year is going to be a fantastic game again in the Horseshoe. But as it is this week, your top 4 would be Ohio State, Bama, Georgia, and Michigan, with the Pokes and USC right there on the outside. And again, we know if Georgia and Bama go to the SEC Championship, they would play each other, which would affect that. And we know Michigan and Ohio State are playing at the end of the year. So that is this week. There's the top 25 for you, and we'll see you next time.